Good morning, everyone. I don't know if it happens to you, but think about it. Are you the kind of person that sometimes when anger takes over, it controls you, at least up to a certain point? I think that it happens to most of us. I know it happened to me for a good time of my life, especially when I was a kid playing tennis. I was a kind of kid that would smash rackets, and I just didn't have control of a lot of my emotions, but definitely anger was one of them. How do we control it? Well, first off, anger is something that we know. If we know how to use it, it can help you a lot, because anger is like nuclear energy. It can be used to be extremely destructive when it's not channeled the right way, and it can be used to be extremely good when it's channeled. It can be destructive when it's not used the right way, and it can be very helpful when you know how to control it, when you can contain it and point it towards the right target, or aiming it at the right place. When we get mad, many times it's just anger is not really the result of the moment, of the thing. I mean, not completely the result of the thing that we're living in the moment. Many times it's just anger contained, and then it explodes when something happens to us. The key to control anger is being aware of it and being conscious when you see it coming. But it's something that you really have to practice, because being conscious of the things that we do is not really something that everyone does. You really need to practice it. But when you start getting used to the habit of stepping out of yourself and seeing your behavior and the way you think and the way you react and your perceptions and your thoughts and your actions and your reactions and the way you feel and the way you think and all those things, when you have the capacity to do that, that's when things start really changing. Your behavior starts really changing in your life. The way you feel changes, therefore the way you think changes. Because of that, the way you behave changes. The things you do change. The way you act change. The way you react changes. Your habits start to change. Your mood starts changing. When your mood starts changing, your everyday behavior starts changing. And when your behavior starts changing, your entire identity and your presence starts changing as well. So that is just like a ramification of the things, of all the things that how they work and it happens. And remember, it's the key is one, you want to be aware. And when you see anger arising, don't try to compress it, don't try to control it, because another thing about anger is, one, remember, it's like atomic energy. The second one, anger is like a teenager. When you try to control it, it's gonna fight back. It fights back, it gets worse, it gets more powerful. So instead of controlling it, the best way to change and the best way to make a difference on the way you treat anger and how it treats you is just being aware of it. That's the best way to change, being aware of something. And you're more changing because you're going like, okay, come on, you got to change, let's do this different, this is what we're gonna do from now on. You go more into a state of, okay, you see yourself and you're like, so that's how you're gonna behave. That's how you look when you lose control. So that's how you look when you turn yourself into a stupid, jealous or envious person. You know, that's how you look when you make a fool of yourself in front of everyone. So instead of trying to control it, instead of trying to change like by the book, what you want to do is change because of consciousness, because you're finding out, you're saying, you know what, this is not really what I want, this is not really how I want to look, this is not really, and it's not how I look, it doesn't really matter. This is not really the kind of person that I look at myself. This is not the highest version of myself, kind of person that does these kind of things and reacts like that and looks just like completely average, let's say. So the important thing is, remember, when you see anger arising, when you feel it, you want to be aware of it. You really want to pay attention to it because it usually happens within seconds. In 3 seconds, you probably have the most 3 seconds, 4 seconds to notice it. And if you don't notice it, by the time you notice it after that, it's already full blown anger. It just has exploded, and it's difficult to. It can have really bad consequences if you didn't catch it earlier. So the thing you want to, what you want to pay attention is when anger starts arising, and you pay attention to it, and you say, okay, so that's how you're behaving. Anger immediately answers. That's another thing. It's always gonna like it just as a teenager again. It's gonna talk to you, and it's gonna say, hey, this is how I want to be. This is what I want to do. This is the way I want to behave. And when that happens, sorry. When that happens, what you have to pay attention to, all you gotta do is just pay attention and say, okay, these are just thoughts. I am drunk in anger, and this is just my anger talking to me. This is just the alcohol talking. That's when you drink too much. Well, that is your drunken alcohol. Instead of being drunk with alcohol, this is anger drunk, and this is just your anger talking to you. This is your thoughts, and you don't have. It's just a collective or social belief or social conditioning that has happened to you, and that's what's coming out. That's the way anger kind of defends itself. That's how it justifies itself for showing up. But all you gotta do is just say, this is just thoughts. This is not reality. This is not how the things are. And that's very important to pay attention. These are just thoughts, and try to be aware of yourself. Step out of yourself and look at your behavior. You wanna be conscious, and you want to think that you want to make sure to remember that when anger gets back at you, when it starts defending itself, you just got to remember it's just words. This is not necessarily the way it's supposed to be, or a fact how things are. It's just defending itself. Okay, all right, guys. I hope to see you tomorrow. Okay, have a good day. Thank you. Bye.